It's a real honor to be here with you tonight. My name's John Grotti, and I'm going to very briefly share a project with you, a sculptural project that was inspired by a desire to begin by casting a live tree. And I went into the forest near the Middle Fork of the Snoqualmie River to find that tree. And I was looking for a tree that felt sort of typical. I wanted it to be a fairly mature tree, but I wasn't looking for a tree that was unusual and sort of romantic. And had the option of potentially making a digital scan of this tree, which would have taken 2 hours, but much more impractically decided to do a plaster cast of the tree. Fortunately, I had a gang of help to embark upon this very impractical venture. It took about 2 weeks for a dozen of us to slowly cast this tree. So you can see we were protecting the tree and with a thick foil and laying these layers of plaster on the tree. When I sort of cooked up this idea of being up and hanging in this tree, I was imagining these sort of intimate moments of getting to know the tree, but we've got a drone flying around us, so it's a little bit of a circus, and I didn't quite have that level of kind of reflective quality, but I did get to know certain nuances of the tree. And it was an important thing for me to think about how I could share that experience with other people. One of the things that I find most compelling about projects is how to get other people to engage with me, especially this sort of large-scale project. What we're seeing here are the molds that we took of this tree brought back to an institution that's new to Seattle, relatively speaking, called Mad Art Studios. This is looking at the outside of the space. It's a terrific place. This was the inaugural project for this space, and what we did is we opened up these large doors, these glass doors, and invited people just happening to pass by to participate in making the project. And in order to do that, what we decided to make was this thin skin of wood using reclaimed cedar. And we built this very intricate skin over this mold of the tree. And the skin of this tree is made by all of these small individual blocks. So a person is given a small palette of these blocks. They choose each of these pieces, and with the greatest fidelity they can muster, they try to keep a sense of that mold. So they're really understanding a small nuance of the tree. It's a very slow process. So you might get done in 4 hours an area about this big. Over the past 2 years, this project's been going on. There have been more than 1,000 people helping to work on the project. We showed the project when the tree form had become about 40 feet long in the same space in which we made it. And then we took the piece on the road to the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C. This is a bit of video showing what happens after all of the different people are contributing by building and gluing these blocks together. And it's a kind of a refining. And the challenge with this was to not take away too much of the individual nuance, because the people working on this project all kind of go their own way. You have a sort of a set direction that you're hoping people will take, but you'll find as you look at the piece, this is the images of the piece as it was installed in the Smithsonian. So we're seeing it at about 50 feet in length here. Each time it goes to a new venue, it's growing. The piece will be shown at the Seattle Art Museum in about 2.5 months. And when it gets to the Seattle Art Museum, in the entry to the museum, it will be about 105 feet long. And at that point, there will probably be close to 1 million of these individual pieces that we've put together. Thank you. And I will close here just so you have a sense of moving through the piece a little bit. This is looking through the wide end, so you're about 10 feet across. And I'll close with this video. The one thing I also want to mention is it will continue to go to a number of other venues and sort of represent our region in a small way. But after it's done being shown at a number of these different locations, we're going to take the sculpture back to the living tree that it was cast from, lay it on the forest floor, and let it moss over and slowly disintegrate into the ground. Thank you.